Okay, so now that you've ironed and pinned, like you pinned and then ironed your bias tape, now comes the hardest part out of all the sewing, is to sew to the bias tape. I bet you if you asked a professional sewer, seamstress, that asked her what would be the hardest part of a sewing project, and she'd probably say the bias tape. That's what I would say, at least. So what we're trying to do here is to make this so the edges look nice and clean cut. So I've already got some done. I've got pretty much the hardest parts done, so that I won't bore you with like, okay, go do this and this and this. Anyhow, so this is what the bias tape looks like so far. If I'm doing the neckline part, that will be the hardest. Then I'm going up to the top. So what you do is, because you've already ironed it, so that's why you have to iron it, you're going to place the fabric, and there's that little line in the middle. You're going to place that over top of the fabric, like that. Grab one of your pins, and pin it on, like that. You're doing this so you can sew it on, because if you don't do this before you sew, it'll take forever. So you're just going to go slowly. Poke it in. Make sure that you poke the fabric, like if you look inside, it's poking into the fabric as well. You want that. So then you know that the bias tape will stay where it is. I don't know why it's called tape either, so don't ask me. The rounded edges are the hardest, so go slow on the rounded edges. You can go fast, but if you want it to look sloppy, then I suggest not. So you do the bias tape all around the border until you get to the other side of the bias tape. Then I'll show you what. Okay, so after you've done the bias tape, it should look something like this. I know it looks terrible, and you think it might look like it's gonna roll over, but it's not. It's just the way that I pinned it. It would be best if you pinned it this way, because if you pin it facing this way, like going along with the bias tape, then it's a lot harder to get out. So I would highly suggest, to do it this way. Okay, so now, without trying to damage the horse, you're going to put it on. And if you like the bias tape, great. If you don't, and your mother has a serger, use a serger instead. But for me, all my blankets are going to be biased. Maybe a few serge, but I like the bias look better. So now we're going to get to finally the sewing part. Okay, so now what you're going to do is you're going to do the best part out of all, is sewing. I'm sorry that you can see my Hello Kitty pajamas here. I think they're cute. Anyhow, so what you're going to do is you're going to take the two edges of the bias tape, and you're going to put one under and one of them on top. Then you're going to sew them together. Don't forget to do a reverse. And please go very slow. And then you just take out all the pins. As you work with them, I put them in the tomato that I have right here beside me. So now that you've finished sewing the bias tape, it should look something like this. Please just give it a little tug all the way around to make sure that there are no holes. Because the first time I sewed it, I had a hole from here to here. So I had to unstitch all the way around the neck and then sew it all again. So after that, I added on some Velcro. So it'll stick like that. It's very nice. I put the end where the bias tape was, right here, on the inside. See if this ugly corner, I call it, was on this side would have been under, not over like the Velcro is now. So you don't see that often. You need Velcro. After you've done that, and you've sewn it all together with the, what's it called? Velcro. You're going to iron it. I would suggest ironing it before you Velcro it. Grab a horse. Put it together. And there is your horse blanket. Now doesn't it look like it was done by like the Schleich realtor? Guess what? It's not. It's the one that you've done. Here is an example of what the actual Schleich blankets look like. See, you can see a bit of the Velcro there, as you can with mine. And it's got bias tape all around the edge, except for ours. Theirs stops around the corners. See that it's got like pointy at the edge where ours is round. And ours did such a better job. They're a bit smaller squares of Velcro. So now this is the real Schleich realtor blanket. And compare it to mine. Now don't they look like so similar? You see a Velcro, it's got bias tape, it goes right up the neck. Oops, slid. So yeah, and that is how to make a horse blanket. Thanks for watching.